double albums in the past have been generally bad because people can't seem to write enough good.
Double albums have always been a gamble. Most bands stretch themselves thin, trying to fill all that space with material that's barely good enough for a single album. Even Robert Smith admitted that the idea terrified him, yet he looked back on the songs he wrote years earlier and realized something surprising. Those tracks still held up. They still felt alive. He just needed people to understand one thing. This collection was created long before anyone heard it. Robert Smith never fit into any box the music world tried to put him in. Too strange for mainstream radio. Too melodic for punk purists. Too pop for the underground. Too dark for pop fans. For more than 40 years, he existed in the in-between. Smudged lipstick, tangled hair, and a voice that turned sadness into something strangely beautiful. The Cure didn't shape rock history by blending in. They became icons because they didn't. Even Smith jokes about it. "Half my brain tells me to say the right thing," he once said. The other half demands something more honest. And despite their attempts to stay outsiders, they still found themselves inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a recognition Smith accepted with a shrug and a smirk. He didn't chase coolness, he chased truth. The albums that shaped him weren't always the critic favorites. They were the ones that understood isolation, longing, and the strange comfort of hearing someone else feel what you feel. They made the darkness less frightening simply by admitting it existed. These 7 albums laid the blueprint for Robert Smith's voice, style, and emotional vocabulary. They taught him how to turn pain into poetry, how to make despair danceable, how to build entire worlds from echoing guitars and fragile words. And here they are. Number 7. David Bowie. The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust. When Smith first heard Ziggy Stardust in 1972, it wasn't just music playing through his speakers, it was a transmission from a different planet. Starman felt like a lifeline thrown from the cosmos. Suffragette City exploded with glam swagger. 5 years blended dread with hope. Bowie wasn't singing songs, he was shapeshifting, becoming someone new, creating a world. For a shy kid growing up in grey suburban England, Bowie was liberation. Permission to be theatrical, permission to be emotional, permission to break every expectation society had about masculinity. The genius of Bowie was his duality. Catchy enough for radio, but strange enough to feel secret. Rock and Roll Suicide became Smith's model for mixing vulnerability with spectacle. From Bowie, Smith learned one of the most important lessons of his life. Image isn't decoration, it's storytelling. And when Smith later painted his face and teased his hair into that iconic chaotic crown, it wasn't imitation. It was understanding.
Number 6. Jimi Hendrix. Electric Ladyland. As a teenager, Smith dropped the needle on Electric Ladyland and found music that felt like memories turned into sound. Voodoo Child was blues rewritten by a cosmic force. All Along the Watchtower became a storm of prophecy. Burning of the Midnight Lamp floated in a fog of sorrow. What struck Smith wasn't just Hendrix's unmatched skill, it was the emotional architecture of the album. Hendrix didn't use the studio to record songs. He used it to build universes. The Cure's later sound, drenched in reverb, atmosphere, and shimmering guitar tones, is a direct descendant of this album. Smith learned that texture matters as much as notes. Feeling beats technical perfection. The studio itself can become an instrument. Little Wing especially stayed with him. A handful of notes, perfectly placed, expressing more emotion than any shredding ever could. Hendrix gave Smith permission to create mood-driven music, soundscapes that weren't just heard, but felt. Number 5. The Velvet Underground. The Velvet Underground and Nico. This album felt like breaking into a forbidden room. Sunday Morning lulled listeners into calm. Then, Heroin ripped everything open. Venus in Furs exposed human darkness without apology. All Tomorrow's Parties captured loneliness better than any diary. The Velvet Underground's brilliance was their refusal to comfort. They weren't selling escapism. They were documenting reality, bruised, raw, uncomfortable. Smith loved that bravery. The album taught him that great art doesn't have to please. It has to tell the truth. Even if the world isn't ready for it. Most people weren't. The album flopped commercially. But those who heard it were changed forever. The Cure would carry that exact mentality. In compromising music that finds the right people instead of chasing everyone. Number 4. The Doors, Strange Days. While most fans worshipped The Doors' debut, Smith was captivated by Strange Days, a stranger, darker album that felt like sinking into someone else's dream. The opening track sounded like anxiety with a pulse. People Are Strange became the anthem for the misunderstood. When the Music's Over turned into an 11-minute descent into emotional chaos. Jim Morrison wrote like someone searching for meaning in the fog, disoriented, vulnerable, intense. Smith recognized himself in that struggle. Ray Manzarek's spiraling keyboards created hypnotic landscapes. Without a bass player, the band used space in a way that felt eerie and mesmerizing. From The Doors, Smith learned how to let songs breathe, how to let atmosphere and poetry speak louder than aggression. When he later crafted songs like Pictures of You, Plainsong, and The Same Deep Water as You, The Doors' influence echoed in every lingering note. Number 3. Siouxsie and the Banshees. The scream by the late 70s, punk had already started copying itself. Then Siouxsie and the Banshees arrived like a lightning bolt. The scream wasn't just punk, it was a blueprint for the future. Dark, sharp, experimental, guitars that scraped instead of strummed. Bass lines that felt like heartbeats, drums that sounded tribal, primal, alive. Jigsaw feeling erupted with unfiltered intensity. Suburban Relapse captured the suffocating panic of everyday life. Carcass turned fractured emotions into art. And Siouxsie herself was a revelation, unapologetic, fierce, refusing every box the industry tried to put her in. Smith didn't just admire this album. He studied it. Three Imaginary Boys, The Cure's debut, was shaped almost entirely by its influence. The Banshees opened the door to the shape of post-punk, and Smith walked through it carrying his own darkness. Number 2. The Beatles. Revolver. Smith grew up in a world where the Beatles were unavoidable. But Revolver wasn't another catchy record, it was a revolution. Eleanor Rigby proved pop could tackle loneliness with haunting grace. Tomorrow Never Knows sounded like the future glitching into the present. I'm Only Sleeping captured the quiet ache of wanting life to slow down. What Smith admired most was the balance. The Beatles experimented wildly, tape loops, orchestras, reverse guitars, yet the emotion remained clear. The innovations never overshadowed the soul of the song. Here, There and Everywhere showed him how fragile beauty could be. For Smith, these songs weren't just melodies, they were emotional architecture. Revolver taught him that pop could be intelligent, painful, joyful, and complex all at once. The Cure's biggest hits, Just Like Heaven, Friday I'm in Love, Love Song, all owe something to the Beatles' ability to blend simplicity and sophistication. Number 1. Leonard Cohen. Songs of Leonard Cohen. This was the one that carved itself into Robert Smith's bones. Cohen didn't perform songs, he confessed them. Suzanne drifted like memory. So Long, Marianne held both love and farewell at once. Hey, That's No Way to Say Goodbye made heartbreak feel almost gentle. Cohen whispered his pain instead of screaming it, and somehow it cut deeper. His arrangements were sparse, nothing competing with the words. Every lyric landed with full emotional weight. From Cohen, Smith learned the power of stillness, the power of honesty, the power of sadness that doesn't ask for pity, only understanding. Smith built The Cure on that foundation. Robert Smith became the voice of the beautifully broken by absorbing all of it. Bowie's reinvention, Hendrix's atmosphere, the Velvet Underground's courage. The Doors' poetry, Siouxsie's darkness, the Beatles' craftsmanship. Cohen's honesty, 7 albums that taught him that sadness can be beautiful, that outsiders deserve anthems, and that sometimes the records that shape us most aren't the loudest. They're the truest. If these albums moved you the way they moved Robert Smith, you're in the right place. This is Rock Fame Diaries, where the legends, the loners, and the misfits get the stories they deserve. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your favorite Cure album in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next deep dive into rock history.